Last time inflation was this high, 6.3% year over year, November 1990. A year later, it was less than half that. But the political damage may have been done. By November of 92, Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush, read my lips, no new taxes. Once taxes were necessary to deal with the inflationary environment, things went sideways. My next guest would go on to be Clinton's Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers. Now, in fairness to him, he was one of the few Democrats who raised concerns about inflation back when Biden and the Democrats were pushing through the COVID stimulus bill. In fact, Joe Manchin was basing some of his concern on what Larry Summers had said. Welcome back to Primetime, sir. Good to have you.
Good to be with you.
So first, let's deal with your prognostication here, which is inflation doesn't come fast, doesn't leave fast. This is going to be with us for a while. Listen to Janet Yellen spinning a different future for us.
I think he's wrong. I don't think we're about to lose control of inflation. I agree, of course, we are going through a period of inflation that's higher than Americans have seen in a long time. And it's something that's obviously a concern and worrying them, but we haven't lost control. And as we make further progress on the pandemic, I expect these bottlenecks to subside. Americans will return to the labor force as conditions improve. And remember, the spending that we did that partially has caused this high demand for goods, it's been very important in making sure that the pandemic hasn't had a scarring effect on American workers. It's given them enough income and support to get through this while still being able to put food on their tables and keep roofs over their heads.
What is Yellen weighing in a way that you are not?
Look, I've got great respect for Secretary Yellen. But, you know, the administration's budget and the administration's forecast with this stimulus was that this year we'd have 2% inflation. And it's likely to come in 3 times that. I think they're just not recognizing just how much demand is being created by the tremendous wall of money, 15% of GDP in 1 year, that they released last spring. And that, in conjunction with a central bank, the Fed, that keeps the interest rate at zero, that's buying all kinds of bonds and mortgages when in the middle of a housing boom, just sets off a dynamic. Then the thing about inflation is you start chasing your tail. Rising inflation of inputs leads firms to raise their prices. That leads other firms to raise their prices. And the whole thing spirals. It can be broken, but it needs to be broken by some kind of dramatic action. And those kinds of dramatic actions often cause recessions. So I think we're speeding down the road at a really rapid rate. It's kind of a downhill road, and it's not going to be so easy to put the brakes on here. And that's why I'm concerned. And I think that the policymakers in Washington, unfortunately, have almost every month been behind the curve. They said it was transitory. It doesn't look so transitory. They said it was due to a few specific factors. It doesn't look to be a few specific factors. They said when September came and people went back to school that the labor force would grow, and it didn't happen. So I hope they're right. I really very, very much hope that the scenario that Secretary Yellen sketches proves to be the right one. My experience is that you should hope for the best and plan for something much less than the best. And I think that means stronger actions by the Fed. It means the administration has to be thinking about inflation. I think it's great what they're doing to decongest the ports and to get more through the ports. But I think it would be much more important if they removed some of the tariffs that are holding up prices, They did a set of things to encourage energy production so that gasoline prices could come down. If they were very conscious of costs as they regulated or as they had procurement rules about Buy America and the like, I think they've got to focus on the things they're doing.
What about
That
the spending bill,
maybe
Larry?
I think it's fine. Chris, if you look at it, the 10 years of the two spending bills together, A, are less than the 1 year of what they did last spring. And B, unlike what they did last spring, are paid for by tax increases. So I don't think that's an inflation problem. I think a lot of it is vitally needed investments in the future of our country. Look, why should it be the case that it takes me 20 more minutes to take a flight from Boston to Washington than it did when I started on the route 40 years ago? That's all about our lagging infrastructure. And there are a ton of other examples. I think we should be making it easier for people to put their kids in daycare. And
do you think they means
go
tested
back-
these things enough,
back
though?
to work.
Because that's one of the major criticisms. One of the major criticisms among Democrats, the more moderate Democrats, is you didn't means test all these policies, that there are too many people who don't need the help that's going to come in this bill, that will get help that they don't need, that are making money that, they shouldn't need this kind of support. You think that's fair criticism?
I'd probably rather see more emphasis on public investment and a little less emphasis on transfer payments. I think that's right. But overall, if you gave me my choice, up or down on this bill, I think up is much better than down. Though, yes, I'd like to see more of it be public investment. I'd like to see less of it be transfer payments. I'd like to see more revenue increases. People like me, like you, Chris, who've been very, very fortunate in life, who are in the top small part of the income distribution. We're going to get tax cuts because of the changes that are being made.
Right.
We shouldn't be getting tax cuts at a moment like this. That's probably the biggest change
Right.
that I take in this bill. But yes, I mean, that's a much bigger deal.
True.
To be raising our taxes than it is to be taking money from somebody who's making $90,000 a year. I'd much rather focus on doing more for those at the very high end.
Larry Summers.
More to rate at the very high end.
Larry Summers, thank you very much. Thanks for putting it in perspective and talking to us about how we get out of it. Be well.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with the handoff.